Basically, it means, like you say, I free myself of anything that's written bad about me. You know, if your black is up, then that's how you use it. And the word free, to me, is basic because I found out several years ago, I saw an essay written by a Chicano up in Sacramento, and he traced it back to the Moros. That it's a nautical term in the Mediterranean, and that they use it to safar the ropes, you know, to loosen them up, and it was just an integral word in their navigation también, porque like if they were in a port and they were leaving port, as soon as they crossed the line of demarcation where they were out in the sea, the open sea, free, they would say con Safos. They all said con Safos, which meant they were out at sea, free and unimpeded. And I, you know, that is in my, you know, contemplation about it, that's the actual original word, that it comes from the Moros. And there's even some proof, like some of those ships that even got to South America, Peru, and they would put up their name, and they would put up, but they would use Z, con Safos, which is easy to understand because when somebody has a Z, and they come up here, it gets turned into an S. So originally, that's the root of Gonzalo. It wasn't well known, of course, what I'm telling you about. I don't think it's well known at all. But you can see why it would catch on too. With anybody would get that spirit, the spirit of Gonzalo, which means I'm a free, you know, and I'm impeded, that I'm not afraid, and I like that part of it. But there's that instance in the Pachucos, mainly it was just a protection, you know, protection, because if somebody wrote some terrible word like, you know, puto, and if you didn't have your consapo, you'd have to get revenge. But if you say consapo, then you already took care of it. And I think that's one thing that happens, by the way, when you get in a clique, you really get a sense of freedom, you know, like you're free from the commonplace prejudice and oppression and all that. It's kind of like a little world unto itself. I love that. That's exactly the way I felt when I was with los Pretos de la Calle. Early on, in 1940s, but I honestly didn't know exactly what it meant. And it was kind of suppressed because people, especially like what they call gente decente, these are the people that are not associated with the gente, you know, street people. It was kind of suppressed, they didn't know about it. So you almost had to become part of a clique to really get the idea of what it really is. When you put a thing like that and then put a C and S, I've seen it on the arm like that when I was young. In fact, that was a big thing. One time I started to get it right here, but hell, it hurt too much, man. I was gonna have it done. And when I was at UCLA, I tried to find out the meaning of the word Safos. And I even asked the professor, and he couldn't find it because he was also looking under, it wasn't Safos, it was Safos. And so he couldn't find it. When I finally realized that it was a zeta originally, I looked it up in a dictionary and I found it. With the Z, con Safos. It comes from the Moros. I mean, I wouldn't be saying it if I wasn't absolute. Patriotismo actually, the code coding language? In other words, did you say certain words that the rest of the people don't know? Which is what the Pachucos did. They used their own language. And we even, in the Safos magazine, we did a whole glossary, a whole page on a lot of words on Safos. It wasn't until much later when I came, I had already graduated from school, from UCLA, and I started working in East LA, and I got real friendly with a guy named Ralph Lopez. We found out that we had that in common, that we knew about Safos. We both agreed on it. The two of us are the ones that got together, and we talked for hours and hours about starting a magazine, because in those days there were no magazines about Chicanos, and that's what made Safos magazine. He thought that it would be a wonderful term for the magazine because, see, we called it Reflections of Life in the Barrio. We were able to use it in the magazine because our expression was liberated, free, we didn't worry about what they were saying, establishment or anything like that. It was also a way of saying we're free of oppression. Started in 68. We got an issue out in 67 that was right before the walkout, the school walkout. People were calling it revolution at the time, but it was really like a revolt. Well, my name is Francisco Pacho, but my nickname when I was a kid was Kiko, Moreno from my mother, and Sifuentes from my father. And I was born in, I forgot, May 18. I just had a birthday, 1932. I free myself from anybody maligning me by putting something bad on my placa, right? I free myself, therefore I'm unimpeded. That you can't stop me.